I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf. Believe me.
You may ask about the coronavirus, which is very well under control in our country.
We all love golf. There are times to play and there are times that you can't play. It sends the wrong signal. When you're president, you sort of say, I'm going to sort of give it up for a couple of years.
We're going to lose 75, 80 to 100,000 people. They're running into death. I see that with the doctors and the nurses. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Time to grow up. You know, time to wake up.
Look at us today. Where we are today, you will be. We are your future.
You don't make the timeline. The virus makes the timeline.
Coronavirus should not stop citizens from casting their ballots.
There is a safe way to vote, and that is to vote by mail.
We got $400 million for elections. We need much more so that we can have more vote by mail.
I think Democrats have to demand that vote by mail is in the next stimulus bill and make that a condition of supporting the bill.
Making it easier for people to vote from home.
At the state level, voters should be pushing for their state legislatures and their governors to do this.
It has to actually start happening right now.
I would not advise someone I love to go sit in a phone place for 10, 12 hours and come into contact with hundreds of people.
In the middle of the pandemic, American voters are not going to be forced between their health or voting.
They had things, levels of voting that if you ever agreed to it, you'd never have a Republican elected in this country again.
When we win on November 8th, we will be able to immediately repeal and replace Obamacare. My first day in office, I'm going to ask Congress to put a bill on my desk. I hope we're going to surprise you with a really good plan. You're going to end up with great health care for a fraction of the price, and that's going to take place immediately after we go in, okay? Immediately. On my first day, you're going to be very proud of what we put forth, having to do with health care. I know that we're all going to make a deal on health care. That's such an easy one. Form a really great plan.
You've been in office 3.5 years. You don't have to.
We haven't had. Excuse me. You heard me yesterday. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks. A full and complete health care plan. I've been saying this for a long time.
What's going on with the debt?
It's very disturbing, and it's driven by the three big entitlement programs that are very popular: Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid.
Social Security has nothing to do with the deficit. Security is totally funded by the payroll tax levied on employer and employee.
That's 70% of what we spend every year. The subject we were just funding of the government is about 30% of what we spend.
If you reduce the outgo of Social Security, that money would not go into the general fund to reduce a deficit. It would go into the Social Security Trust Fund. So Social Security has nothing to do with balancing a budget or erasing or lowering the deficit.
Don Winslow explains how it really works.
To end chain migration, ending chain migration, chain migration, chain migration, chain migration.
At the same time Donald Trump was spewing all this hate, he was using a high-powered lawyer and chain migration to bring his wife Melania's mother, father, and sister to the United States, where his money bought their citizenship.
Citizenship was just awarded to Victor and my
else.
Here's how it works. At the same time plagiarizing plastic First Lady Melania Trump had kids pulled from their cages for this staged photo op, her family was living lavishly in the United States under permanent resident status. But that's mainly just for rich white people. If you're Mexican, you don't get to live in a fancy New York apartment while you wait. Donald Trump makes you wait in a cage. The world's most successful liar couldn't have his future wife be in the United States illegally, so he spent the big bucks to get Melania an Einstein visa.
Don't you think in any way that it's hypocritical that his wife got to stay in the country with an EB-1 visa, the so-called Einstein visa?
Not at all, Stephen. I know physics.
Now, the EB-1 is reserved for immigrants with extraordinary ability. And when you think of extraordinary ability, you don't exactly think of Melania. But Trump didn't care. He just wanted it done. Meet Michael Wilds, the high-powered lawyer who helped secure U.S. citizenship for Melania Trump and her parents Victor and Amaya Connaught, and a green card for her sister Ines. See, when Melania became a citizen in 2006, it gave her the right to sponsor her parents and sisters. Hence the name chain migration. Trump destroyed families and sold a closed border policy to his face while using chain migration to bring in his own family. At the same time, the Department of Homeland Security were ripping children from their mother's arms and locking them in cages, Melania's family was walking out of court with a personal security escort of Department of Homeland Security officers. Note the patches on the uniform. Donald Trump has one policy for white people and another for brown.
I met with the Border Patrol agents, and they're doing a great job.
Okay, stop the music. There are still thousands of children locked up in Trump's border prisons. There are children that have not seen their parents in years. How long can Trump keep them in prison? Do they get out when they're 18? Do they spend their entire childhood in a cage? Do they ever get out? Do they ever get out?
All right, let's go discuss with our panel. Eugene Craig, CEO, the Eugene Craig Organization.